Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of the EDF Invincible, his eyes fixed on the main screen. The massive view screen showed several strange ships moving slowly toward Earth from beyond Neptune's orbit. These were the first confirmed alien vessels humans had ever seen. After centuries of wondering if they were alone in the universe, humanity finally had its answer. "They're still approaching, Admiral," said Officer Lee, her fingers moving quickly across her control panel. "Their technology seems advanced, but our new sensors are picking up some interesting weaknesses in their shield design." Kim nodded, keeping his face calm despite the excitement bubbling inside him. Earth had developed incredible technologies. In recent decades, quantum shields, gravity weapons, and phase shift drives that let ships travel faster than light without detection. The aliens didn't know any of this. They thought they were visiting a primitive world. "How long until they reach communication range?" Kim asked. "About 10 minutes, sir," Lee replied. Kim turned to his second-in-command, Captain June. "Remember, we don't show all our cards at once. Let's see what they want first." The bridge crew worked efficiently, preparing for first contact. Earth's government had created protocols for this moment, but everyone knew plans rarely survived first contact with the unknown. When the alien ships reached Jupiter's orbit, they slowed and sent a transmission. Officer Lee looked up from her station. "They're hailing us, Admiral." "On screen," Kim ordered, straightening his uniform. The view screen changed to show a strange alien face. It had gray skin and 6 eyes arranged in a circle. The being wore what appeared to be a military uniform with strange symbols. "I am Commander Taejo of the Galactic Consortium," the alien said through a translation device. Its voice sounded mechanical but clear. "We bring greetings to your primitive world and offer you the protection of our empire." Kim maintained a diplomatic smile. "This is Admiral Kim of the Earth Defense Fleet. We welcome peaceful contact with your people, Commander Taejo." The alien's eyes blinked in an odd pattern. "Our scans show your technology is quite basic. You have only recently begun exploring your own solar system. The consortium rules 10,000 worlds and has existed for millennia. We will guide your development." Behind Kim, several officers exchanged looks. The aliens clearly had no idea what humans had achieved. Earth's quantum technology made many of their advancements invisible to standard scans. "Perhaps your scans are incomplete," Kim suggested politely. "Earth would be happy to establish diplomatic relations, but we're not looking for guidance or protection at this time." Commander Taejo's expression changed to something like surprise. "You misunderstand. This is not a request. All developing species join the consortium. It is for your own benefit." Kim's smile faded slightly. "I think we should clarify some things, Commander. Computer activate defense grid display." Around Earth, hundreds of previously hidden defense platforms and satellites revealed themselves. 20 more human ships decloaked near Mars. The alien commander's 6 eyes widened as his sensors suddenly detected technology far beyond what he expected. "Impossible," Taejo muttered. "Your kind has barely left your atmosphere." "Your intelligence is outdated," Kim replied calmly. "Humanity has developed in ways you couldn't detect. We welcome friendship, but not control." The alien commander seemed flustered. This changes nothing. The consortium's power extends across the galaxy. We will send representatives to discuss terms of your membership." After the transmission ended, Captain June approached Kim. "They didn't expect resistance." "No," Kim agreed. "They thought we were helpless primitives. Their empire probably bullies developing worlds into submission. They don't know what to make of us." 3 days later, a larger delegation arrived from the consortium. Their ships maintained a respectful distance, no longer approaching Earth directly. The aliens requested a meeting on Earth's neutral territory. President Doe prepared to receive them in New Seoul. Intelligence reports suggested the consortium was divided on how to handle Earth. Some wanted to welcome humans as equals, while others saw them as a threat to be controlled. Admiral Kim watched from orbit as the alien shuttle descended toward the meeting place. "They're in for more surprises," he told his crew. "They don't realize we've already established outposts beyond our solar system." Officer Park looked up from her station. Do you think they'll accept us as equals, sir? Kim thought for a moment. Empires rarely welcome challenges to their power. I think we should prepare for difficult times ahead. But humanity has faced challenges before. We'll face this one too, together. President Doe smoothed her formal jacket as she waited in the grand meeting hall of New Seoul. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating the round table where Earth's future might be decided. 6 human representatives sat with her, each chosen for their expertise in diplomacy, science, or military strategy. The consortium delegation entered the room with an air of superiority. Ambassador Taejo led 5 other aliens of different species. Each moved differently. Some glided, others walked with multiple legs. They all wore similar metallic uniforms with symbols showing their rank. "Welcome to Earth," President Doe said, rising to greet them. "We hope this meeting marks the beginning of peaceful relations between our peoples." Taejo's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "We appreciate your hospitality, though these discussions are merely a formality. All species eventually join the consortium." The human representatives kept their expressions neutral as everyone sat down. Minister Han, head of Earth's defense forces, studied the aliens carefully. "Let us be direct," Taejo said, placing a small device on the table. It projected a 3D document in the air. "These are the standard terms for new member worlds." President Doe read through the glowing text. The terms were clear. Earth would contribute 30% of its resources as tribute, accept consortium governors in major cities, and limit space activities to the solar system. In exchange, they would receive protection and guidance. These terms would make Earth a colony, not a partner, President Doe observed. "A necessary stage of development," replied one of Taejo's advisors, a tall being with scaled skin. "All member worlds begin this way." Minister Han leaned forward. "And how long does this stage typically last?" "For primitive worlds like yours? Perhaps 1,000 years?" the advisor said dismissively. President Doe exchanged glances with her cabinet before responding with a polite laugh. "I'm afraid these terms are unacceptable. Earth proposes instead a treaty of mutual recognition and trade." The aliens seemed shocked by this response. Taejo's eyes narrowed. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation." "Actually, it is, President Yu," Doe replied calmly. She nodded to Science Director Choi, who activated her own projection device. A 3D map appeared, showing not just Earth's solar system, but nearby stars. Several points glowed bright on multiple star systems. "These are current human outposts," Choi explained. "We've been exploring beyond our solar system for 5 years now." "Impossible," snapped one of Taejo's advisors. "Our surveillance would have detected your ships." Defense Minister Han smiled slightly. "Our phase shift drives don't register on conventional sensors. We've been able to observe several consortium worlds without detection." The aliens conferred among themselves in hushed tones. Taejo turned back to the humans, his voice harder now. "This changes nothing. The consortium includes 10,000 species across the galaxy. Our combined fleet is larger than you can imagine." "We don't wish for conflict," President Doe said. "We simply want to establish relations as equals." "Equality must be earned," Taejo replied coldly. "The consortium rules through strength and order. If Earth refuses standard terms, we will be forced to demonstrate our power." The meeting ended shortly after, with the aliens departing in obvious frustration. As soon as they were gone, President Doe called an emergency session with her Security Council. "They're not used to being refused," Admiral Kim observed through a secure video link from orbit. "Our intelligence suggests they typically deal with pre-spaceflight civilizations that can't resist." "We've changed their calculation," Minister Han added, "but they won't back down easily. Empires rarely do." Intelligence Officer Pak presented her analysis. "Our spies report they're already sending messages to their central command. They're assembling what they call a pacification fleet. Several 100 ships at minimum." President Doe looked around the table. "Options? We could try further diplomacy," suggested Foreign Minister Ju. "Perhaps reach out to other species within the consortium who might be sympathetic." While preparing our defenses, Minister Han added firmly, if they're sending hundreds of ships, they're not coming to talk. Admiral Kim's voice came through clear from orbit. My fleet is ready, Madam President, and we've confirmed our quantum shields work against their weapons technology. President Do nodded slowly. Prepare a full defense plan, but keep our advanced capabilities hidden until necessary. They still don't know our full strength. Later that night, as President Do looked out over the lights of New Seoul, her aide Jin entered with fresh intelligence. Consortium fleet has departed their central worlds, Jin reported. They'll reach our solar system in about 2 weeks. And so humanity faces its first interstellar crisis. President Do said quietly, Alert Admiral Kim. Tell him to position our fleet near Neptune. If they want a show of force, we'll give them one they won't forget. As Jin left to deliver the message, President Do remained at the window, watching Earth's beautiful cities shine in the darkness. Soon the galaxy would learn that humanity wouldn't bow to threats, no matter how far they came from. Captain Song stood silently on the bridge of the EDF Dauntless, watching Neptune's beautiful blue swirls through the main viewport. Her ship, along with 50 other Earth vessels, hid among the planet's rings waiting. The ice particles helped mask their energy signatures, giving them an element of surprise. Contact, announced Commander G, her second in command. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Song checked the tactical display. The sensors showed the consortium fleet emerging, first dozens, then hundreds of alien vessels. Their formation spread out like a giant net, ready to sweep through the solar system toward Earth. I count 327 ships, reported Tactical Officer Moon. Just as intelligence predicted. Song nodded calmly, though her heart raced. This would be humanity's first interstellar battle. Everything they'd worked for, their freedom, their future, depended on what happened in the next few hours. Oh. Ships, maintain position, she ordered through the fleet communication channel. Remember your training. On the lead consortium battleship, General Ryu surveyed the human solar system with confidence. His massive vessel dwarfed most of the fleet accompanying him. Ryu had crushed rebellions on 17 worlds during his long career. This would be no different. Scan for Earth defenses, he ordered his crew. We detect minimal orbital platforms around their homeworld and a small group of ships near their moon, reported his sensor officer. Nothing that could challenge even a fraction of our force. Ryu made a sound that passed for laughter among his species. These humans are either brave or foolish. Transmit surrender terms. Give them one chance to submit before we demonstrate our power. Back on the Dauntless, Commander G looked up from her console. Captain, they're broadcasting surrender terms across all frequencies. As expected, Song replied. She opened a channel to Admiral Kim, who commanded the operation from the flagship Invincible. Admiral, they're following the predicted pattern. Kim's voice came through clearly. Proceed with Phase 1, Captain. Song turned to her communications officer. Send our response. Moments later, General Ryu received the human reply. He read it and hissed angrily. They refuse. They dare to suggest negotiating as equals. He slammed a clawed hand on his command chair. Move the fleet forward. We'll destroy their Mars outpost first as a demonstration. As the consortium fleet approached Neptune's orbit, Song waited for precisely the right moment. The alien ships moved with supreme confidence, not bothering with caution. All ships prepare quantum entanglement targeting systems, Song ordered. Power up gravity weapons, but keep shields in passive mode. Let them think we're defenseless until the last moment. The lead consortium ships detected the Earth vessels too late. By the time their sensors penetrated Neptune's rings, Song had already given the order. All ships execute attack pattern Typhoon. Quantum shields to full power, fire. The Earth fleet suddenly lit up with energy, shields shimmering into visibility as they launched their assault. The quantum entanglement targeting systems allowed perfect coordination. Every Earthship knew exactly where its companions would strike, creating a devastating pattern of fire. General Ryu barely had time to realize what was happening. evasive. "Maneuvers!" he shouted as his flagship rocked from the first impacts. "How did they—" His sensor officer screamed in panic. "General, their weapons are bypassing our shields, and those aren't conventional energy weapons. They're manipulating gravity itself." The Earthships moved with incredible precision. Their gravity weapons compressed the hulls of consortium ships or tore them apart with conflicting forces. Phase-shifting missiles passed directly through alien shields before detonating. Ships that tried to escape found their engines suddenly failing as targeted. Pulses disabled their systems. On the Dauntless, Song watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Focus fire on their command vessels," she ordered. "Disable engines when possible. We want survivors." Within 30 minutes, what had begun as a simple pacification mission for the consortium had become a nightmare. 40 of their ships had been destroyed outright. 60 more were disabled and drifting. The rest were attempting a disorganized retreat. General Ryu's flagship suffered critical damage. As fire spread across his bridge, he stared in disbelief at the small human fleet that had devastated his forces. "Impossible," he whispered as his ship began to break apart. They were supposed to be primitives. Captain Song watched as the remaining consortium ships fled. "Admiral," she reported to Kim, "the enemy is retreating. Should we pursue?" "Negative, Captain," came the reply. "Our goal was to defend, not destroy. Begin rescue operations for survivors. All escape pods are to be retrieved and survivors treated with medical care and dignity." As Earthships moved to collect survivors and damaged alien vessels, Song looked again at Neptune's peaceful blue surface. "Send a message to Earth," she told Commander G. "The Battle of Neptune is over. Humanity stands free." Ambassador Jin walked through the gleaming halls of the Earth Embassy on Proxima 2, a newly established diplomatic outpost on a world 30 light-years from Earth. The building combined human architecture with design elements from 7 different alien species. It symbolized Earth's new approach to galactic relations, respect for all cultures, partnership instead of domination. Today was important. Representatives from species long oppressed by the consortium were arriving for talks. News of the consortium's defeat at Neptune had spread quickly through the galaxy, giving hope to worlds that had lived under imperial control for centuries. "They're here, Ambassador," said her aide, Officer Wu. 7 species in total. Jin nodded and entered the large meeting chamber. The aliens waiting there were remarkably diverse. Hoon, representing the Meridian people, stood tallest, his crystalline exoskeleton shimmering under the lights. Others included the 4-armed Nilarians, the floating bubble-like Vex, and several humanoid species with various skin colors and features. "Welcome," Jin said warmly. "Thank you for accepting our invitation." Hoon stepped forward cautiously. "Many believe this meeting is dangerous. The consortium has ruled for 10,000 years. They do not forgive those who challenge them." "Yet, you came anyway," Jin observed. "Why?" "Hope," said a female Nilarian named Suk. "For millennia, the consortium has taken our resources, restricted our development, and treated us as lesser beings. Then humans appeared and showed they could be defeated." Jin gestured for everyone to sit around the circular table. "Earth doesn't seek to replace one empire with another. We believe all sentient species deserve self-determination." "Pretty words," said a Vex representative, their translator converting vibrations into speech. "But how can we trust humans won't become the next tyrants once you gain power?" Jin activated a display in the center of the table. It showed documents, the proposed alliance charter. "Because of this," she explained, "equal voting rights for all member species, mutual defense obligations, technology sharing, no species, including humans, get special privileges." The representatives studied the charter with amazement. Such concepts were revolutionary in a galaxy long ruled by hierarchy and force. Meanwhile, on Nexus Prime, the consortium capital world, the High Council chamber erupted in angry debate. 12 elders from the founding species sat around a raised platform arguing about the human problem. "We must crush them immediately," shouted Elder Su, slamming his hand on the table. "Their ships are now visiting our subject worlds, spreading dangerous ideas about equality and democracy. This threatens the very foundation of our rule. With what fleet? Asked Elder Mook calmly. Our pacification force was devastated. The humans possess technology we don't understand. Senior diplomat Bayek, who had studied human history extensively, stood to address the council. Perhaps rather than seeing humans as threats, we should consider them potential allies. Their culture is young but innovative. They could bring fresh perspectives to blasphemy, interrupted Sue. For 10,000 years, the consortium has maintained order through strength and hierarchy. These humans would undo everything with their chaotic notions of freedom and equality. The council remained divided. Some saw wisdom in adaptation, others demanded immediate military action. There is another option, said Military Commander Jay, speaking for the first time. The World Breaker. The chamber fell silent. The World Breaker was the consortium's ultimate weapon, a massive ship capable of shattering a planet's crust. It had been used only twice in their long history to make examples of rebellious worlds. Back on Earth, President Doe received Jin's report with mixed emotions. 17 species had now signed preliminary alliance agreements. Trade was beginning. Cultural exchanges were planned, but intelligence suggested the consortium was planning something desperate. They're activating the World Breaker, Defense Minister Han confirmed, showing satellite images of a massive ship being prepared in a distant shipyard. Our spies say they plan to destroy Earth as an example to others. President Doe looked at the images grimly. How much time do we have? 2 months, maybe less. Then we proceed with both tracks, Doe decided. Continue diplomatic efforts while preparing Operation Sunfire. If they want a final confrontation, we'll be ready. On Proxima 2, Ambassador Jin was unaware of the looming threat as she finished the day's successful negotiations. 7 more species had joined what was now being called the Galactic Alliance. Their representatives shared stories of consortium oppression and their hopes for a different future. For the first time in memory, we have hope, Hoon told Jin as the meeting concluded. But be careful, Ambassador. The consortium destroyed worlds before when challenged. They will not surrender their power easily. Jin nodded solemnly. Earth understands the risks, but some principles are worth fighting for. As night fell on Proxima 2, ships from a dozen worlds orbited peacefully together, the beginning of a new galactic order, if they could survive the coming storm. The massive consortium Worldbreaker emerged from hyperspace near Mars, its dark hull blotting out the stars behind it. The ship was enormous, 20 kilometers long and shaped like a spear. Surrounding it were the remaining military vessels of the consortium fleet, over 500 ships gathered for what they believed would be the final battle against humanity. Fleet. Lord Min stood on the command deck looking at the blue-green planet visible in the distance. Earth seemed so small and vulnerable from here. Status of the main weapon? He asked his weapons officer. Charging, my lord. The planet killer will be ready to fire in 30 minutes. Min nodded with satisfaction. The Worldbreaker's main weapon could crack a planet's crust like an eggshell, turning oceans to steam and reducing cities to molten slag. After today, humans would be nothing but a cautionary tale told to rebellious species. Any sign of their fleet? Min asked. His sensor officer looked puzzled. Nothing, my lord. Our scans show only a few defensive satellites. Perhaps they've abandoned their homeworld. Min frowned. This didn't match the intelligence reports. The humans had fought bravely at Neptune. Why would they leave Earth undefended? In Earth orbit, Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of the EDF Invincible, watching the enemy fleet on his tactical display. Beside him were captains from a dozen alien species who had joined Earth's cause, former subjects of the consortium who now fought for freedom. They've taken the bait, Kim said quietly. They can't detect our ships while we're phase shifted. Captain, Song of the Dauntless nodded. All ships report ready, Admiral. Operation Sunfire can begin on your command. Kim looked at the alien allies on his bridge. This is your last chance to withdraw. The Worldbreaker has never been defeated. Hoon, the crystalline Meridian commander, stood tall. We've lived under consortium rule for too long. Today we fight, together or die together. Kim nodded and opened a channel to all ships, all vessels. This is Admiral Kim. Execute Operation Sunfire on my mark, now. Across the solar system, 200 ships, human and alien alike, activated their engines simultaneously. The fleet had been hiding using Earth's phase shift technology, invisible to consortium sensors. Now they appeared around the world breaker in a perfect sphere, trapping it and its escort fleet. On the world breaker, alarms blared as enemies appeared from nowhere. "Impossible!" Fleet Lord Min shouted. "How did they—" His words were cut short as the first attacks hit. Human ships projected quantum fields that disrupted the planet killer's power systems, while their alien allies, intimately familiar with consortium technology after centuries of servitude, targeted specific weaknesses. The battle near the sun became chaos. Earth vessels used solar flares as cover while Allied ships struck from multiple angles. The consortium fleet fought back fiercely, but they were unprepared for the coordination between humans and their new allies. "The main reactor is destabilizing," warned Min's engineer. "The weapon system is overloading." Min stared in disbelief as his mighty worldbreaker began to break apart. "How can primitive humans coordinate such precision?" he whispered. Admiral Kim watched as the massive ship began to glow with dangerous energy. "All ships, retrieve escape pods," he ordered. "No one else dies today." Earth vessels darted among the debris, collecting surviving consortium crew members. Many aliens were surprised to be rescued rather than executed by their former enemies. 3 months later, representatives from over 200 species gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall in New Geneva on Earth. The room buzzed with dozens of languages as former enemies sat side by side. President Doe stood at the central podium holding a simple document. "Today we sign the Charter of the Galactic Alliance," she announced. "Not an empire, not a hierarchy, but a true partnership of equals." One by one, representatives came forward to sign, humans alongside former consortium species and their former subjects. Ancient enemies shook hands or tentacles, beginning the slow process of healing old wounds. In a secure room beneath the assembly hall, former consortium Elder Sue watched the ceremony on a screen. Now a prisoner awaiting trial for war crimes, he still couldn't understand what had happened. Officer June, his human guard, stood nearby watching his reaction. "How did we fail so completely?" Sue asked. "How did we underestimate your kind?" June considered the question thoughtfully. "You thought technological advancement and moral evolution were separate paths. Humanity learned they're one and the same. Outside, people from 1,000 worlds celebrated in Earth's streets. Children from different planets played together while their parents discussed trade, art, and science. Ships from dozens of species orbited peacefully overhead. As night fell, fireworks lit up the sky, not celebrating conquest but connection. Earth had faced the galaxy's greatest power and emerged not as conquerors, but as peacemakers. The stars no longer represented threats or territory to control, but new friends to meet and new wonders to discover together. The age of empire was over. The age of alliance had begun.